Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakrito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Nama Pranavathaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahabhiryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let's chant the prayer verse together. Katakya Kirana Chanta Naman Mohabhaye Namaha Anantananda Krishnaya Jagan Mangalam Murtaye. We have been studying those three verses, of which I think we've done only one so far, which explores how to understand the three words, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. The three words used by Shastra to help us understand the idea of Brahman. As we have seen, first is to understand the three words as the meaning being different from the Vachyartha we would normally associate it with those words. And then take it to the next level of understanding. If you understand the meaning of this three words, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, then logically it follows that Brahman has to be I. There is no other possibility. That's what we've been reading. We will continue the reading from where we left off in the last class. Which page are we in? 280, was it?
282.
282.
282 first, second para yours.
282, second paragraph. Okay. Right. I remember now because that's where Swamiji starts talking about Jnanam. Up to that point, we were talking about Satyam or existence, and showing that the existence that we understand otherwise will always have non-existent alongside. But that by which you know existence and non-existence in the Jagat, that's Satyam. And that Satyam is only the Dhatu Artha, As Dhatu Artha. The second word we've been using is Jnanam, and I think Swamiji is starting to talk about it. When you say Jnanam, it says. Okay, let's read. Who will read today? Please, sir.
When you say Jnanam, it is generally means knowledge of something or the means for knowing or knower. Jnayade idi Jnanam. Jnayade anena idi Jnanam. Janadi idi Jnanam. Therefore,
these three words, the meaning you understand, no?
Yeah.
Jnayate iti Jnanam. That which is known is Jnanam. Jnayate anena, by which you know, is also Jnanam. And the knower, Jnanati, is also Jnanam.
Therefore, Karta, Karma, Karanam, all three of them can be taken as the
means. Maybe you could put it in slightly different order because those three are in different order. Those three in Karma, Karanam, and Karta. That's the order that was the sentences in. So should have kept in the same order, but doesn't matter.
So therefore, Karta, Karma, Karanam, all three of them can be taken as the meaning of the word Jnanam. And all three are dismissed because Jnanam is not Sabdavachyam. Jnanam is Lakshanam. In every Jnanam, there is something present, without which there is no Jnanam. That is the real Jnanam. That is consciousness. Therefore, Jnana Shabdena Chaitanyam Uchyade. Ananda Shabdaha, the experiential word Ananda, the non-word, is used to point out the limitlessness, the wholeness of Atma. Therefore, Sachidananda are three minimum words we require to reveal the nature of the Atma. Satyam Jnanam Anandam Brahma iti, the Shruti, is so very purposeful in analyzing all these things. Amazing how much they have thought about all these things. It is mind-boggling. What they say is understandable. These are the minimum words required for anybody to understand the Vastu. Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam. All three words are important, even though we can use any one word once you understand. Then we can say Satyam cannot be without being Jnanam, Jnanam cannot be without being Satyam, etc. Once we know all other forms of logic, we can create. But to create the knowledge, Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam, Iti, these three words are used. These three words are not gunas.
That we discussed, I remember the last class, somebody even mentioned this, that these three words are used in trying to understand the nature of Brahman. These are words which are known to us. But the known meaning has to do with experiential meaning. And Jnanam especially is something one has to understand very clearly, because Jnanam is the Chaitanyam, consciousness. And to us, the moment you say consciousness, there is a meaning that spans in our mind. He is conscious, he is not conscious. He is in coma, he is not conscious. That conscious meaning of the word conscious that we use in our day-to-day life is not the consciousness we are talking about. Just like for Satyam, Swamiji said, As Dhatu Artha, from which everything is derived. Like that here also, Nya Dhatu Artha, from which everything is derived. All the three states, the Jnata, Jnanam, and Jnaya, of both Jnanam and Ajnanam that we know in this Jagat, knowledge and ignorance. All are covered by this Nya Dhatu, because without the Nya Dhatu Artha, there is nothing. None of these words can have any meaning. Yeah.
The understanding of Satyam is very important to understand the vision of Vedanta. Any one thing is sun. So there is a footnote. I'll read the footnote. The Sanskrit word sun means being, and any padartha, anything perceived, inferred, conceived, imagined, or believed exists is at least in one's thought. Even absence is Sat Suddhi. Isness is present in every thought or object of a thought. So everything enjoys isness. Subject is, object is, known is, unknown is, knower is, knowledge is, presence is, absence is, sentient is, insentient is, error is, everything is. Is alone appears as every padartha. Padartha means the meaning of a word. The isness, existence is the Brahmavastu alone, and everything else is just a Padartha, which is just Nama Rupa, a name and a form. Agashaha sun, Vayuhu sun, Agnihi sun. Everything is sun matram alone. Sat being the Karanam. that Satyam is common in all of them. That Asti na Vidyade. Only Namarube Vidyade. The name and form alone Vidyade. Asti na Vidyade idi. Then Nahi sa Jadihi Ishyate. Therefore, there is no Jadi because a second Satyam is not there.
What is
Everything else.
Vidyate? What is Vidyate, Swami?
Here exists. Only that name and form is all that is there.
Oh, no.
That is
That
all
Asti
that
na
is
Vidyate.
here in the Jagat we know is only name and form.
No. What is the meaning of Vidyate?
Vidyate, the dhatu, you can go back to the dhatu. Vidyate here would mean
Binding, no?
the existence. I think I'm trying to remember the dhatu from which Vidyate comes. Just not striking me immediately. That which exists. Name and form alone, Vidyate, they are only the one in the Jagat. Asti
na Vidyate.
In the Jagat, there, yeah. Let me get back to you because I'm just not striking me what the dhatu of
Viddu dhatu. Viddu dhatu.
Viddu dhatu, isn't it?
Viddu dhatu. Which primarily means to break, split, or divide.
You got that from the okay.
Yes.
No, but here Vidyate would mean that which is. Let me see if I can immediately get you the correct meaning. Hold on a second.
Change हो सकता है.
That which has an end, you can say it like that. That which has an end.
Let me get the correct meaning. Just give me a minute. I'm not getting it. I'll get back to you on this. I want to give you the correct meaning. I don't want to guess at the meaning, okay?
The dictionary says to divide or eat into parts.
Yeah, that is Bid Dhatu. But
that is
in this
from,
context, how do you understand? How that Astina Vidyate, only Namrupa Vidyate? I want to get the correct thing. I will give me a minute, give me a day. We'll get before the next class, I'll tell you.
With means to exist or to be there or what is present.
No, that does not fit here.
No. It's broken. It gets split. It's pierced.
It has to be Bid Dhatu, Karmani Prayoga.
Vidyati iti vidyate.
That would make something.
Bhangam prapnoti.
I'll get back to you on this. Because it is Bid Dhatu, cut, break, etc. But Karmani Prayoga, it will be that which makes something break or cut or disappear, something like that will be.
There
but
is
how does it fit in this context? I will let you know.
There's one meaning to expand, cause to open or blossom.
Cause to?
Open or blossom.
Again, it doesn't fit in this.
Yeah, we have to see what fits here.
So leave it
print the dictionary.
Leave it with me. I will get you. How you should read this in this context.
Yes. There are a lot of meanings. It's too much. Dhanyavad. So that asti na vidyade, only namarube vidyade, the name and form alone vidyade, asti na vidyade idi. Then nahi sa jadihi ishyate. Therefore, there is no jadi because a second satyam is not there. Everything else being mithya. Existence, sattvam, is the swarupa of the atma and not a guna. Because
okay. I think what, sorry, mind was still running on that bid dhatu. Asti na vidyate means asti cannot be broken down, cannot be, will always be available. Namarupa is only will disappear. So maybe that is the exact meaning. That which is made to disappear, made to break down.
Swamiji, Satyam Sthita Dharmam na Vidyante. Dharma established in truth does not get broken.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. No, it is not. No, it is not broken. It is not. It is not lost.
It is not lost. It is not broken.
Yeah.
The dharma established in truth does not get broken.
That is what vidyate could mean. From the dhatu bidda, which is to cut, to break, etc.
it cannot be pierced by a weapon. It says it cannot be pierced by a weapon.
Yeah. All the equations, that which cannot be destroyed,
broken,
which cannot
be
lost,
it
cannot
be pierced.
Cut and
yeah, it cannot be cut, it cannot be broken, it cannot be split,
cannot be broken, etc. So that which is unaffected by any of these is satyam, but everything else is vidyate.
Yeah. Atma cannot be cut by weapons.
Sorry?
There's one other...
Atma cannot be cut by weapons.
Yeah, Atma cannot be cut by anything.
हाँ वही वो गीता वाला.
Gita wala, correct.
Sorry, there was just one other meaning here on the internet. It says Nama Rupe Vidyate. Sanskrit for it is differentiated by name and form.
Yeah, maybe that will also apply here. That will also apply here properly. Differentiated only by name and form. Otherwise, it cannot. There is no differentiation of Atma. Yeah, that's another way of looking at it. Let's continue.
Yeah. If it is a quality, there should be a jadi, which means there should be another Atma. Another Atma is not available. How do you prove that? If there is another Atma, then it should become an object of your knowledge. If it is the object of your knowledge, it is Anatma. If it is not object, then it is Atma. An existent object other than me, Madanyah is not. Madanyah. Why madanyasya atmanah anyasya sadaha anyasya sadaha abhavat.
There not being anything other than I.
Yeah. A thing that is existent other than myself not being there. If there is an existence other than this existent Atma, then it becomes Anatma. If it is Anatma, then it is its existence dependent upon Atma, or if it is not dependent upon Atma. If it is not dependent upon the existence of Atma, then we can say that it is Anatma, which is independent of Atma, myself. But if it is independent of yourself, how do you recognize that? That is why Jnanatvam is brought in here. You can understand why that Jnanam is very important. Atma should be Jnana Surubha. Only then we can establish this. To establish that another Sattvam is not there, Jnanatvam has to be brought in.
Swamiji, can we reread it? I did not actually follow it, these last parts.
Why don't you read it again and see if anybody can explain this? Read it one more time, then maybe somebody can explain to you. Read the last part.
You want to read Divyansh or shall I read?
I can read.
Okay.
Read, Divyan.
Okay, I'm reading from the starting only now. That asti na vidyate, only nama rupe vidyate. The name and form alone vidyate, asti na vidyate iti. Then na hi sa jati hi ishyate. Therefore, there is no jati because a second satyam is not there. Everything else being mithya. Existence sattvam is the swarupa of the Atma and not a guna, because if Sattvam is a quality, then there should be a jati, like Gotva guna implies a jati, Go jati. Sattvam is not the quality of the Atma on the basis of which we can say there is a jati. If it is a quality, there should be a jati, which means there should be another Atma. Another Atma is not available. How do you prove that? If there is another Atma, then it should become an object of your knowledge. If it is the object of your knowledge, it is Anatma. If it is non-object, then it is Atma. But so, like how the Dvaita people say that there are many Atma in each individual beings, even though they don't become object to each other because like we can't perceive it by the eyes or something, right?
You
So
may
how do
not
we say
perceive
that?
it, but you know, if you know that there are Atmas, you have another Atma, he has another Atma, who will know that there's an Atma?
Like I can sense the sentience in other beings, right? So I can deduce that they also have Atma, like me.
No, that becomes the object of your knowledge.
Not the Atma. I can see the effect of the Atma being there, the body is moving.
You can see the effect of Atma, therefore you infer that there's an Atma.
Yes.
But what is your pramana for this? What does the pramana say?
एक ही आत्मा है.
Ekameva Advitya Brahman.
Okay.
Tad Brahmata Atma. Any inference we draw from our own observations needs to be verified against your pramana. Isn't it?
And that will make Atma Badita also in space, right?
Correct. It will make Atma Badita because then you'll have a limited Atma. My Atma is within my body only. That is also not acceptable.
Okay. If it is non-object, then it is Atma. An existent object other than me, Madanyaha, is not there. Why? Madanyasya Atmanaha Anyasya Sataha Abhavat. A thing that is existent other than myself not being there. If there is an existence other than this existent Atma, then it becomes an Atma.
This is the point that you are having a little difficulty understanding, right?
Yes.
That becomes an object. And any object is an Atma.
If it is an Atma, then is its existence dependent upon Atma or is it not dependent upon Atma? If it is not dependent upon the existence of Atma, then we can say that it is Anatma, which is independent of Atma myself. But if it is independent of yourself, how do you recognize that? That is why Nyatvam is brought in here. You can understand why that Jnanam is very important. Atma should be Jnana Swarupah. ये वाला नहीं, I am not able to get
ये
like
समझ आता है ना? You're seeing Atma as discrete entities in different beings. But is that your understanding of Atma from Pramana?
No.
It is indivisible Akhanda Atma. So if you see this, then what happens? Then you say that this, what is a book here or table here, doesn't it have Atma?
Right.
That's also Atma. Same. See, the word Atma itself, you understand, one way of understanding that is the famous example we use, that fabric is the Atma of my Angavastram, or all Angavastram. In that sense, the Atma means it is the very Adhisthana for that. But here we're going one step further. Not only is that Adhisthana, it is also an Adhisthana which has got to be conscious. That will not happen in a fabric to this thing. It will not happen to between yarn and the fabric. Till you go to consciousness, none of these will be valid. But to understand that this is the Atma, meaning this is the Adhisthana for the other thing, you can use the Atma letter. But Atma as consciousness is the only Atma which can recognize everything else. There are also a lot of problems. I'm saying which can recognize everything else. The moment I say recognize, that's a karma happening. Recognition is a karma. There's no karma also. And there it is to be understood only because it is a different order of reality. Everything that is an object really doesn't have reality. We say it is mithya up to a point when we have to understand everything else in the Jagat. Once you understand Atma, at that point the transition takes place and all this becomes not just mithya, it becomes nothing. It's not there at all. Because nothing is there. From the Maya downwards, everything is only imagined. Be imagined. Only for our understanding, up to the point when our nididhyasanam brings us to the state of understanding the nature of Atma. And the clarity that nature of Atma is aparokshataya I. Then nothing else exists. The problem is
Yes, we lost Swamiji.
sorry, I think this thing has been unstable.
Yeah.
Although-
Swamiji, you were just saying the problem is, then after that we lost. Yeah.
The problem is at the level of our understanding. Till we come to that level of nididhyasanam, we have to accept some of these things. It is the same question that often I had in early days. Then you say that you are Ishvara, and then you say that you must pray. And the question that came to my mind was, if I am Ishvara, who should pray to who? Who should pray to whom? So those are all transition steps till you understand the reality aprokshataya. then this becomes, see, that's why we accept the idea of a jiva. And we talk about a jiva being in some form, a reflected type of consciousness. And then we say, no, the jiva is the same as Parameshwara. There is no separate jiva. It is only reflection at best. There is only one Paramatma. The jiva that we see in individual beings is as though a reflection, because there seems to be a medium to reflect. When you look at it, this begins to make more sense.
So is it like the same argument we had, the Sat is Chit and Chit is Sat, that thing?
Say that again.
Like, is it the same argument that we make, that Sat has to be Chit and Chit has to be Sat, that thing?
It will come to that eventually, but till that, that will come only when you have understood then you don't need three words. Once you understand, you don't need three words. But till that point of understanding, we have all the three words, because what happens? Okay, I accept that there is Satyam is different from the Satyam and Anritam that we see in the Jagat. I understand that, okay. But how do you show that Satyam is not Jada? So you need another word, which is Jnanam. And then how do you show that this is now Anantam, for which you use Ananda? All the three words have a corresponding word meaning in the Jagat. That corresponding word meaning has both extremities. Atma, Satyam and Anrutam, Jnanam and Ajnanam, Anandam and Ananandam, all these are there. But only up to the point we come to understanding, then we saw one by one, we say, okay, this Satyam I'm talking about is nothing to do with either Satyam or Anatram. It is what is the Adhisthana for both of them. Then I can understand. Then I say, okay, what do you call it? I call it As Dhatvartha. On the basis of which I accept that there is a Asti and Nasti both appear in the Jagat. Because both are known to me, and both are known to me because I is Jnanam. Again, the same problem. That Jnanam that I understand is Jnanam as opposed to Ajnanam, which is part of the Jagat. But both Jnanam and Ajnanam I know because of the fact that I am Nyapti. Similarly, so Ananda, Ananda, I know both Ananda and Ananda because I am the Ananda Swarupa, which is the Sakshi for both Ananda and Ananda in the Jagat. We use all these words, even Sakshi and all that will go once the clarity is there. That is why we will do the Mandikya Upanishad Karika by Gaudapadacharya at the end. Because there he dismisses all of these things. Till then, we have to have the grasp of the Jagat Mithya. So when you read these, remember both these, that we are still struggling with the Mithya, Satyam Mithya concept, viewed from that point of view. And when we eventually transition into Jnanam, meaning total understanding, aparoksha understanding, then there's no such things available. We don't need any of these things. Yeah. It's a little tricky to understand, but what Swamiji is saying here, because other than Atma, there is nothing. there is nothing existent. That we saw up to now in all our reading. That is existent other than myself not being there. Vadannasya atmana anyasya sataha abhavat. There is nothing other than me. If there is an existence other than this existent Atma, then you have a problem. Because then one of them becomes Anatma. Because one is known to the other, or both become Anatma. Because then there should be something else which knows both. Both can become Anatma. If it is Anatma, then its existence depends upon Atma, or is it not dependent upon Atma? If there are two of them, is that the second Atma that you are seeing, is it dependent upon Atma or is it not dependent upon Atma? But Swamiji is saying, if it is not dependent upon the existence of Atma, then we can say it is Anatma. What does it mean? If it is not dependent upon the existence of Atma,
Yeah, that is the existence.
We can say, no, there's a comma which is creating confusion. We can say that it is Anatma which is independent of Atma. If Atma is I, and there's another Atma which has an independent existence, then you have two different independent Satyam, which has all been negated. And if it is independent of yourself, how do you recognize that? That is why Nyatvam is brought. You can understand why Nyatvam is very important. The point is that the Atma that we are trying to figure out, Atma, Brahman, whatever, has to be sentient. Sentient is not a good word. Has to be conscious. It is consciousness itself. In fact, the next verse will go into some details for this. Otherwise, in the Jagat, what happens? A person is conscious just now. He becomes unconscious. If he goes into coma, he remains unconscious for a long time. That is not the consciousness we're talking about. That consciousness is the awareness of both the person who was conscious yesterday and today has gone into coma, is conscious of both. That Nyapti we are talking. If it is not very clear, keep it, don't throw it away. We'll continue to read.
So, Swamiji, can we make an argument that a Jada Vastu cannot create consciousness?
Correct. Jada Vastu cannot consciousness.
Okay. Yes,
In the Jagat, we see Jada Vastu and which are not Jada, both we see in this thing. That's only because of the Sukshma Sharira being there. That's all. My mind is still trying to figure out this.
Is it? You lost the connection.
Vidyate, I think we'll go by the Vid Dhatu only and say that it is not divided, destroyed. That's the only meaning that makes sense. Okay, shall we continue reading?
Yeah, but
unless
the next
somebody else has something to add to this issue that Divyansh has raised. No.
Like for me, actually, like it is sometimes very like difficult to follow other people argument because I have already made my mind. I have certain arguments in my mind. But if some two people are like discussing, then it's very tough for me to follow their chain of thought.
You're right.
So
You're
that
right.
is happening here.
It also comes from the fact that you've probably been reading a lot of these things. So when you read these things, you make your own conclusions, your arguments, etc. And it looks like it is clear at that time. Then somebody else comes with another argument, which is different from what you have reached as a conclusion. Then one has to really examine both. And ultimately, the argument of the Shastra has to be the ultimate. So one has to really understand why my conclusion is different from that of the Shastra. That is the real Mananam.
No, yes, but I did not mean like that. I meant that my chain of thought of reasoning, I have developed, right? And I know that why I'm asking this question and the response that I get from it. So the chain of thought is clear to me. But if two people are discussing, one is Purva Pakshi, one is Uttar Pakshi, so I have to like सोचना पड़ता है कि like why they are asking this question and yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it happens to me also. Sometimes I find the Purva Pakshi's questions incomprehensible. Sometimes I find it childish. But that's where the arguments are going. Shall we continue the reading?
I think like it's one of the thing like during my coaching days. So like I had certain doubts regarding the teachers' concepts, right? But they were teaching, I had certain doubts. Then I clarified those. But if some other person asked his doubts, then I used to think ki, if that question did not come to me, then it's not my problem. Let him like resolve his problem. I don't have nothing to do with him.
Okay, let's continue, Ashokji.
Yeah. Verse 23. Sat is the Swarupa of the Atma. What about Jnanam? Jnanam is also Sachidananda. With reference to Jnanam, a Tikagara, correct, no?
Tikakara. Like your Bharshakara, there's Tikakara.
Okay. There's a footnote 72. Tika Rasa Divyanjiga by Swayam Prakasha Yadihi.
It is only the name of the Tika. The Tika is like a Bhashyam. Normally, Tika is written on the Bhashyam.
Oh, okay. I heard now. Okay, with reference to Jnanam, a Tikakara presents the contention A. What is the A that?
EMAP contention that.
No, I was wondering why contention A then is.
A contention, a point of view. A point of view.
EMAP Atmanaha Jnanashrayatvam Agnikaryatvam Angikaryatvam Angikaryam and Angikaryatvam. Okay. So here Jnanashrayatvam means the locus of Jnana. Atma is the locus of Jnanam. Knowledge means it is the Ashraya. It is the Vishayi. If it is the Ashraya of Jnanam, that means that Atma is an existent being which has the quality of Jnana. Otherwise, it would be Anatma. Anyada Gadadivad Anatmatva Prasangat. Okay. Anyada Gadadavat Anatmatva Prasangat. It must have Jnanashrayatvam. Only then can Atma become a subject, Vishayi. And everything else becomes an object, Vishaya. A Vishayi has Jnanashrayatvam, Gada Jnanasya Ashrayatvam is there. And the Gada Jnanam is centered on the Vishayi. The subject, the Pramada, the Pramatratvam, being there for the Atma. Atma is Jnanashraya. The contention is that Jnanashraya means Jnana Gunatvam. Atma has got the guna, the quality of Jnana. For which the author says no.
Swamiji, Jnanashraya means like conscious, right?
The locus, or it is where the Jnana is. See, he's making distinction between Atma. You can do say two ways. Atma has jnanam. Or you can say Atma is jnanam. So he's taking the argument that Atma is a locus in which jnanam is there.
Jnana means consciousness, right?
So therefore it says jnanam is a property of Atma. Yeah.
For which the author says, no, Atma does not have the quality of jnana. Atma is jnanam. Atma is satyam, being sad Atma, and it is jnanam, being sid Atma. The satyam alone is sitvam, and therefore the word jnanam here is swarupa jnanam only. That is going to be explained here. I'll read the verse. स्वरूपमेव मे ज्ञानं न गुणस्य गुणो यदि अनात्मत्वमसत्त्वं वा ज्ञेया ज्ञेयत्वयोपदेद्.
You want to attempt by getting the first meaning of the verse?
Is the root, the verb is patet, the root is pad. So I think it is vidhi-link. And swarupameva jnanam, that is swarupa only is a jnanam. Guna and guna is not the jnanam.
If you do an anvaya, it may be easier for you to do.
Okay.
Me jnanam sarupameva. Me here is Atma. Mama. Me jnanam is sarupameva. It is not a guna. Na gunaha. Yadi sa gunaha bhavati. Bhavati is not there, but you can add that. Bhavati. Then what happens? Anattatvam asatmatvam va, either anatmatvam or asattatvam, jnaya agnyayatvayoho patet. It either becomes anatma, either it is knowable or it is not knowable. Either case, if it is knowable, it becomes anatma, becomes an object. And if it is agnyayatvam, cannot be known, then it becomes non-existent. Very mota meaning if you look at just the verse.
Swamiji, if something is not knowable, that does not make it non-existent, right?
If something is not knowable, okay, I think the way you should look at it is, if it is not knowable, why is it not knowable? Tell me one thing which is not knowable.
एक तो subjective होता है.
No, anything is knowable either by me right now or later in the thing, or by somebody else. Knowable. Correct? If you look at something which is like our standard example that Shastra uses is the rabbit's horn. It is not knowable because nobody can know. Because it doesn't exist.
No, it does not exist, therefore it is not knowable. But I am saying, like, let's say something is indriyatita.
So, can you take a very example which is not knowable but exists?
Something indriyatita. Okay.
If something exists, then you know it, right?
You know it or somebody else knows it, you know it today or you know it tomorrow.
Okay.
Isn't that?
Till a time it is not knowable to into one. Subsequently it will become knowable.
Correct. It may not be knowable today, it may become knowable later. Even if you take something like past, for example, do you know what a dodo is? What's a dodo?
A two-headed bird.
No. A dodo is an extinct bird. I don't know because I can't see a dodo anymore. But it's knowable because at some point of time somebody knew about dodo. It used to exist in Mauritius, but it is extinct now. So today, if you ask, people don't know. And it'll also happen, no? If you ask a child today, what is a rotary telephone? They won't know. They've never seen a rotary telephone. But it's knowable by somebody else at some other time. So whether in the past or in the future, somewhere it is knowable. So the word is not known, the word is knowable.
Can I say Swarga is not knowable?
No, Swarga is knowable through your pramana for that.
Yes.
You may not personally
Veda,
know Swarga. Nobody might come back from Swarga and tell you it is like this. But you know because it is there.
Yeah,
Your
Vedas
pramana is Shastra.
Shastra say.
Okay. One more thing.
Sure.
So, like Shastra, okay, so Shastra is not comprehensive, right? Let's say Shastra talks about 14 lokas, right? Maybe there may be other loka or something, other system that Shastra does not talks about, but that exists. But still, from the human's point of view, it is not knowable because we can't go there or something like that. So हो सकता है ऐसा?
How do you show that? What is the pramana by which you are saying there's another loka other than the 14 lokas? Is there any evidence, any pramana for that?
Okay, so that the onus is on me to prove that it exists, right?
No, you're just making a unsubstantiated claim like our Rahul Gandhi.
हाँ मतलब वही ना कि यू आर सेइंग कि पूर्व पक्षी को प्रूव करना होगा कि हाउ डू यू नो ऐसा.
What is the source of knowledge? Where is the pramana?
ठीक है.
I used to have a question when the first news came that man landed on the moon. I used to look up at the moon and say, you mean somebody is walking there on that moon? I just couldn't believe it. And then later I read some reports which had some indirect evidence to say that this is all made up. There's nobody landed on the moon. I don't know how far it is true. But I don't know. I have to go by what information I get.
We continue?
Yeah, please.
Me jnanam, mama atmanah jnanam, swarupameva. Atma, which was already...
Mama atmanah is the same. Mama meaning my atmanah, atmas.
Atma, which was already established at Satya Atma. Tasya atmanah jnanam, atmanah swarupam eva. It is the swarupa alone. Like Satyatvam is the swarupa of the Atma, not a quality of the Atma. Similarly, the Satyatma alone is Jnana. Satyatma alone is Jnana. Or is alone is Jnana Swarupa Atma. It is in the form of Jnanam alone, iti Pratigna.
Pratigna is an initial statement. We are saying that me jnanam smarupameva is the first pada. It is a declaration. Then you will say how.
Swarupameva me jnanam, no gunaha. It is not a quality. This Atma does not become a guni having the guna of jnanam. Why should we not take jnanam as a guna? Atma has the quality of consciousness. Why not take it that way? Why should we take it to mean that Chaitanya is the Swarupa, for which the author says Saha. Footnote 73. Saha idi videya abhiprayena pullinga nirdeshaha, therefore Saha gunaha.
Very interesting, Shastra many times will refer to the Atma in Pullinga, in Strilinga, in Napunsakalinga. There is no linga for that. It is alinga, as we've seen in Kathopanishad. Alinga. So anything is acceptable. Pullinga, Strilinga. In this case, he's saying sah. Saha is Pullinga, and therefore gunaha.
So for which the author says saha gunaha yadi, if tat jnanam chaidanyam.
Swami, in that Kathopanishad, the alinga ki jo meaning tha, that was like it is not knowable, right?
No, not knowable. It has no linga. How will you know it? Only through Shastra. There in that same verse, if you remember, he says Acharya Shastra. Is that it's available, knowable. It's not knowable by our senses.
But it cannot be objectified, right?
Cannot be objectified. Because it is you. It is not an object.
Right. Nahi, usme it is a linga by the word linga. It was not meant ki it is not female, male.
What it says by linga is it has nothing to indicate, to point to it.
Wahi.
Linga itself means just an indicator if you want.
Not the gender.
Anena iti linga.
For which the author says saha gunaha yadi, if tat jnanam chaidanyam, that consciousness is a guna of the Atma. If it is a quality of the Atma, then what will happen? He says anatvatvam asatvam va nyeyatvayoho pade.
That's a single compound. Nyeya, Agneya, and then you use a dual case. Tayoho.
Atma will either gain the status of anatmatvam or asatvam, non-existence. Let us look into this. If you say jnanam is a guna, a quality of the Atma, is this Atma nyeyaha? For that jnanam or not, Atma nyeyaha va ajneyaha va. Is Atma an object of that consciousness or not? If Atma has the jnana guna, consciousness, if consciousness is the quality of the Atma, then is this Atma an object of that consciousness or it is not an object of that consciousness? Either option will be untenable. Anatmatvam, asatvam, va jneya ajneyatvaha patet. Suppose you say Atma is an object of consciousness, then Nyayatve sadi anatmatvam patet. When it is taken as
it is an object of knowledge, therefore it becomes anatma.
When it is taken as an object of consciousness, it becomes an atma. Therefore, you cannot say that jnanam is atma guna. Nyayatve sati atma is the vishaya of the jnanam, which is an atma. So you cannot say that atma has the quality of jnana, and therefore the jnanam is atma swarupa. Then the second possibility, ajneyatve sati, what will happen? Atma sattva. If atma cannot be known at all, then Vishanavat. Okay. Atma is not there. That means you have to say that Atma itself is not existent. Which means you have to say, I do not exist. And thus, Ajneyatve sati Atma asatva praptihi.
It gains asatvam.
It means Atmanaha asatvam syat. and I say the jnanam because of which you say I do not exist. That jnanam is the Atma. Therefore, again you cannot say that Atma has the quality of jnanam. That is why two things are said here. So, jneyatva, ajneyatva, anatmatvam, asatvam va patet. Asatvam means non-existent. Atma becomes non-existent, which you cannot say. Why? Because the jnanam because of which you say, I do not see the Atma. That is the Atma. And therefore, jnana surubaha Atma.
We'll stop it here today.
Yeah.
But this is something to cogitate upon, including all the questions that Divyansh has come up with. It's important. These three verses, if we can really get a handle on, grasp them, I think we would have gone a long way in understanding this. Therefore, any question is always welcome, even if the question in the mind of the questioner is unclear. Any question should be opened up for discussion. Any question should be, everybody should contribute and discuss. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
Om Swamiji. Dhanyavadaha.